everyone, and welcome to Carrie Ann Conversations Journey to Wellness. Look, I believe that the journey to wellness is an individual one, and that only you truly know what's best for you. But how can you know what's good for you if you've never heard about it or don't have access to the information? Well, that's why I started this series. My hope is that you'll learn something new in every one of these conversations that will help get you one step closer to your wellness goals. So let's get to it. My guest today has been a dear friend of mine forever. We reconnected a while back when I was going through some very terrible losses. It was in 2017. And she messaged me on Facebook and invited me to her home for a healing. In addition to her incredible work as the founder of Mindset Mastery, you may also know her from her work as a dancer and performer with the Pussycat Dolls, and for her acting roles in shows like CSI and Star Trek, and hit movies like Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, and The Sweetest Thing. Please welcome my dear friend, Cyia Batten. Hi, Mama!
Hi. Oh, I love that. Thank you for that amazing intro.
Oh, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, my beautiful friend. I'm so happy to see you.
It's so great to see you too. We have got to have a catch up. We have not actually seen each other in person for way too long.
Way too long. I know. It's long overdue, and it's going to be amazing when we get to it.
It's going to be amazing. And you look beautiful, my friend. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, so my friend Cyia and I, we met first as dancers. We were in a dance company together, right, Cyia? Do you remember?
We were.
You want
yes. I want to hear how you're going to explain that one. Go for that.
No, I'm going to let you explain it.
Okay, good. Okay, because my version will be less humble on your end of the spectrum than yours will.
My version is
a dance company. What?
My version is that you are amazing. That was a dance company.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Dancer and just the most beautiful goddess, and has a brain on top of it, and just one of those people that when you meet, you just feel like she's an angel. And we were dancing together back then, and it was just incredible.
Oh, my word, woman. I'm speechless right now. Thank you for all of that. Well, let me tell you about the dance company, because everybody should know this part of you. I don't know, everyone who's followed you and fallen in love with you, as everybody does in this iteration of your career, might not know you as a dancer. So I'm just going to take a second to explain the dance company in which we met and worked together. We were doing this show called With Passion, and Carrie Ann was the lead. She was the star of the show. She and this amazing male dancer named Jason as well. And I was just like a peon in the company. And yes, we were all good. We were all professional dancers. I'm not being overly humble or falsely modest, but you were so amazing. And I worshiped you as a dancer, watching you dance that piano piece. I mean, I've just never seen anything like it. And so you embody your strength as a dancer now in what you're doing as a guide and a teacher and a light and a host. I don't know how else to describe everything magical that you do, but she was an amazing dancer.
I love you. That is so sweet.
I love you too.
Thank you. That was so long ago. And it's funny, most people don't know that side of me, my dancing career. It's weird. Even though I'm a dance judge, most people don't know about when I used to dance and how important it's such an integral part of who I am. So
it's an incredible part of who you are. You were fierce and forceful and passionate, and it was just incredible to watch.
We have come a long way, my friend, and you have come a long way. Not only are you one of the few dancers that I know who is actually able to make that shift from being a dancer to being a successful actress, you have been so successful in film and TV. Now, I want to know what then shifted you from there into the wellness space.
Well, the main thing, the truth is really that I needed it. I desperately needed it. Like most human beings that we've met, I'd been through a number of traumas, a number of challenges in adulthood. Just to lightly touch upon a few, an abusive relationship, a divorce, the loss of my home, the loss of a job, severe depression. I had always needed the wellness space, dialing way back to childhood, where I experienced a number of other traumas and challenges, and I hadn't gotten it. So not getting it, paired with being born a naturally developed intuitive and I say it that way because all human beings are intuitive. Some of us just come out with our gifts and skills a little bit more finely honed than others. Whereas, mine was intuition. Person Y might be, or person X might be a strength in athleticism. Person Y might, solve mathematical equations in her head. I certainly didn't get that gift. But being born highly intuitive and kind of a natural healer, which, by the way, every single human being is as well, without guidance, because we all need our teachers and guides, we all need our hands held at some point, meant that I misplaced my natural inclinations and tendencies and energies as an intuitive and healer, and exposed myself to further traumas. I'm going the long way around to say that what pushed me into the wellness space and why I needed it so desperately is because it was the only way I was going to be able to move forward. It was the only way I was going to be able to continue kind of walking in the world in this body, because I had hit rock bottom so deeply and so hard, as a lot of us tend to do. So when we're guided towards wellness, when we're shown a golden key, which is what I really consider it, because it truly opened the door to this entire new world and it changed the course of my life. It's not just a kindness that we express to show others the way. It's really, I see it as a duty to share that. It's the human experience. We're this big, beautiful collective, and while we're these autonomous beings operating within the collective, we really suffer in separation and singularity. Wow. So it's a very long answer to say that I had no other choice.
No, but it embodies and explains a lot. And, the more I go into wellness, I kind of consider you as one of the first people to really introduce me into the wellness space. Right. And I almost feel that in the years that have passed since that time, it almost feels almost redundant to call it wellness. And I almost don't like the word wellness because it's so overused. It's really just life, right? Yeah. Like life, because every person that I talk to in this wellness space has had trauma. And I think every single human being has had some sort of trauma in their life, whether they want to call it a trauma or misfortune or a difficult time. People call it different names, but we've all experienced challenges in life. And wellness is really just tools to living the best life possible. And you have honed your tools because you needed them, right? Congratulations on being such an incredibly resilient soul. And thank you for all of the things that you have found and that you share with others. When we first met, I just want to tell people how your journey kind of has gone from one place to the other. And I love how fluid you are in your journey of healing and your own personal journey of healing. In that, when we first met that time, we did a lot of crystal work. I remember you invited me to your home. You laid me out on the floor and we did some prayers, we drank teas, and you placed crystals over my body, and I felt things that I hadn't felt before. You gave me permission to release. And I think the crystals help. Some people believe in crystals, some people don't. And now you've moved into a whole nother chapter of how you approach healing. How did that shift happen? Like, why are you now in this new chapter? And because even within the healing, coming to healing is one thing, but now within the healing, you've gone from you've gone into a new chapter. How did that happen, and why did the evolution happen?
I love that. I think the how is a really difficult question to answer. It's just kind of the nature of life. Life is just a constant unfolding and a constant revealing. And that's how I see spirituality. That's how I view wellness. That's how I view intuition and healing and all of those words, whatever words we use for this human experience. It's just a constant revealing and exposure. To me, it makes perfect sense. I had to swing from one end of the spectrum to the other. And so when I moved into the wellness work, I went super woo. I went all the way to the other end of the spectrum from where I was. And that's okay. It's just what got me there. I had to dive in so deeply. Now, and I was also guided. I've told you this story before. I got this message out of the blue to go get these 7 crystals. And I mean, had you told me a month before that happened or a year before that, I would have reintroduced myself to you, because there's no way you met me, if you were telling me I should go get some crystals. So, it just was not my way of thinking at all, even though I was born super intuitive.
Yeah.
So how this happened is really that, I'm a perpetual student, and I believe that it's a really important aspect of healing is to constantly learn and be in learning. That is the nature of energy. It is always flowing. It is always moving. Source energy is always flowing. So if I stay stagnant and still in what worked in the beginning, I'm not growing as a human being, which means that I'm also not serving the people with whom I'm working. So I have to keep growing, and I evolved, and I did swing from one end of the spectrum, trauma and drama over here, to super woo, and sometimes not even operating in the real world. I was so out there. I've really balanced in that middle space that allows me to embody and embrace both.
So on your website, which I love, it's you talk about the yummy, juicy center in between. So for people out there, what does that mean? Because you've worked with so many different tools and modalities. Like now you're in the yummy, juicy center of healing. What is that? And remember, some people who are watching have no experience, have never worked with a healer, have never had or like, Crystal, what do you mean? I found one in my garden. You know what I mean? How do you explain that to somebody who is new to wellness?
The crystals or the yummy, juicy center?
Where is that? I love that.
Everybody latches on to that. They find that yummy, juicy center line. And I think people love it so much, because who doesn't want to live there? Like, just the feeling of it is like, that sounds so good. Everybody wants to live in that beautiful place. So the short answers are not my strength. The shortest answer.
This is, we can do whatever we want. You just
here's the good thing. The good thing is that I know myself well. Okay. So I know the short answers are not my strength.
We're talking about that. Self-awareness is key to healing.
Self-awareness is 100% key to healing. But you know me. You've known me for so many years. I have always lived out loud, and I've never been afraid to live fully expressed in whatever iteration I was in. And so how I got to that yummy, juicy center and what that means to me is that after running full bore, like just full force all across the entire playing field of life, over here, completely numb and disconnected and avoidant and not aware at all, or over here in the story of trauma and drama, to this side, super woo again, or not even really walking in the day-to-day world, I learned from experiencing all of those things that there is this yummy, juicy center, which is a balance of both. It's that, since I said playing field, I'll call it the 50-yard line. What I learned by running around like that is that we as a society have this tendency to separate these two worlds, to separate, I've landed, I bridged the gap now between spirituality and practicality. That's my yummy, juicy center. So we have a tendency to separate the two and think that you can choose one or the other, but you can't have both. And I could not disagree with that thought, with that way of thinking more. They are not exclusive of one another in any way, shape, or form, and they're meant to work together. They are meant to work together as a team, in unison, in union, to support one another. And here's why. We are, and you've heard me say this a million times, we are, you could probably say it for me.
Nope.
Spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
So that sentence in and of itself, if you think about it, spiritual beings, floating around, having a human experience, walking in the world, that sentence alone illustrates the necessity for the embodiment of both spirituality and practicality as tools towards higher living, best living, fullest expression of who we are as divine beings. So if we are both energy embodied, You know, we're energy and spirit, and we're energy embodied. And we have to be both. If you're just over here living this practical, pragmatic life, you're not going to feel super fulfilled, and you're missing out on this whole toolbox that is going to help you do that better, be more efficient in the implementation of this practical living, help you access joy, help you feel fulfilled, draw in more abundance. And if you're living all the way over here in spirituality, you're not allowing your spirit the experience of living as a human, which is what you came here to do.
Oh
So
my
it doesn't
God.
make any sense not to live in that place.
Hold on. I have to get something real quick because
Okay.
I have a guitar.
I was not expecting that.
Me neither. You are a genius. I have to sing this song. Painting, bridging practicality and spirituality. Obviously, that was a non-rehearsed song. Obviously, impromptu song. And the CMA any day now. Thanks. No, okay, seriously, that is so profound, and I think that part of this series that I'm doing, Carrie Ann Conversations, is about wellness and finding what works for you. And everybody is individual, everybody's unique. But I really love how clearly you just stated that it's really important that your viewpoint, and we're going to talk about your mindset mastery class where you go more into this, but that your viewpoint is about really bridging practicality and spirituality. What I like about this is this will appeal to the people who I think need more spirituality, because the word practicality is in there and they can resonate with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll also resonate with the people who are maybe the opposite of that. And I think it's so true that you have to have both. Now, you, gosh, that was just, I mean, I felt like big gongs went off in my head when you were saying that, as always. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because you always, like, you open up portals for people. I watched it in your classes. Cyia teaches incredible classes, guys. And if you ever have a chance to go to any of her classes, or you can experience her through the Mindset Mastery as well, but experiencing you in person is the most incredible thing. And I know that people want to have this experience with you, because when you work with Cyia, portals will open up for you. You will have openings and awakenings and realizations that will profoundly change your life. So I know you're starting a mindset mastery course, and that you've done it already and you had great success with it. So you're currently offering the mindset mastery course on your website. So what does the course entail, and what does it mean to truly master your mindset?
Thank you, by the way, for those beautiful words. I'm deeply touched. To me, what it means to master a mindset is it means that you are in control of your mindset rather than it controlling you.
Okay.
Now, in order for that to make more sense, we should probably define very quickly what mindset means. And like the actual definition of it is that it is a mental attitude or disposition that predetermines a person's responses to and or interpretations of situations. I might have just totally blown the formal definition, but that's essentially it. My definition is that mindset is the lens through which you view your life. And your lens determines your life. 100%. Your mindset holds the ideas of self that determine your experience with the world. It's kind of like a computer operating system. And I talk about this within the course. You buy a new computer, it comes with an operating system that determines and dictates how that machine will operate. And the good thing about operating systems is that they can be rewritten. You can delete programs and you can add programs. And that is what mindset work is that we go in and we find those ideas of self that are outdated, and we all have them. Just because something happened to you as a child doesn't mean that you have to walk in the world as such, as having experienced that. So we rewrite those programs that no longer serve you and that keep you playing small, which is just a crime to live in that embodiment, because we're all meant to live these beautiful, expansive, and expressive lives. So what it means now to master your mindset through this work, through this rewriting of the operating system, if you will, is that, again, it means you're in control of that mindset as opposed to it controlling you. You get to decide how you receive, react to, and respond to the experiences that are happening to you and around, not, I don't want to say to you, but in your life. You get to determine the story to which you hold yourself. You get to rewrite and reframe and really recreate. Mindset work, mastering your mindset, puts you in the driver's seat, which is so unbelievably empowering. Like that unfolding we talked about before, that's what we are doing as people. We are constantly creating. Everyone thinks that they are created and done. No, you are in creation all the time, every single day, from your cells to your breath, to your hair, to your pounds on your body. You are constantly in creation. And mindset work lets you determine what that does for you, whether it serves you or not. You know, what you believe of yourself really becomes true ultimately.
Okay, we just need to repeat that for a second, because that was one of those moments, portals opening up, gongs going off in my head. Whenever Cyia speaks, whenever I spend time with you, I feel like my life takes a huge leap forward. And that's what these courses are about. And I think everybody's looking for these giant steps forward because people have been stuck for so long at home, this pandemic, the uncertainty and all that. So I think your course is it's going to help a lot of people. But let's just repeat what you just said about that you are constantly in creation. You are in creation, right?
Yes.
As opposed to you weren't created and then you're stuck.
Right. So that moment, so the Mindset Mastery course hasn't launched yet. I have a wait list going. What I launched previously was an introductory journey. It was a 16-day reset, which was an introductory journey towards mindset mastery and personal empowerment. And in it, one of the most impactful moments where I could literally see everybody on Zoom go was that moment when I said, hear me now. I don't know how I said it, but you are not created. You are in creation. Every single day, we are in creation, for better or for worse. This is why the I ams, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point, are so, so important. Self-awareness is so, so important. Spirituality is so, so important because it supports us in that creation. Each one of you out there listening or watching, you, Carrie Ann, you are a focal point for the divine expression of God, of source, the universe, whatever language you like to use. And so you want to kind of set yourself up and be ready to not only receive that inspiration, but express that inspiration, because the ultimate goal in life is to live fully expressed. So through mindset work, we get to decide what to hold on to. I'll give you an example, and I don't know if I should give a trigger warning, but I mentioned earlier, I think I swept over an abusive relationship. I could choose now, where I am in life, to walk in the world as a person who experienced domestic abuse. Now, I would likely have trust issues. It would affect my intimate relationships. Maybe I would have self-esteem issues, confidence issues with my body, my sensuality, my sexuality, so on and so forth. Maybe I feared people. Maybe I didn't want to get close to people. I didn't want to, who knows how that would affect me if I chose to walk in the world in that way. It is a part of my story, but it is not a part of my identity. And so I don't operate from that place. I don't say I suffered traumas. I say I experienced them. I don't say I'm a victim of, because I'm not a victim of anything. I experienced X, Y, or Z. So I'm constantly rewriting my own, and it's all a choice. Just because something happened to me doesn't mean that I have to be beholden to it. You know, the only bondage that there is bondage of thought. Nelson Mandela proved that to the world. It is the only bondage there is. And our I ams, our stories, are all thought-based.
Wow. Okay. This is yet another mind-blowing moment. I actually just need to take a second and let that sink in, because that's really powerful. Cyia, is it true? Like, you really never held on to it, or did you at some point make that choice?
Oh, I made that choice. I
Okay.
absolutely held on to it. 100% held
And
on
how
to it.
did you get there? Because that's, I think, where people get stuck is like, I think they'll hear this and they'll be inspired, but like, how would somebody make that choice to not identify as something, but say it's something I experience, as opposed to owning it, holding it? Because I have a tendency to do that. I
Yeah,
hold, I own it. I like, it's like I embroider it on my collar, and then
right.
I will keep that way until I can let it go. Right. But
Well, sorry.
no, and that's it. And then one day I either get so sick of myself that I
Mhm.
stop, right? That's one of the elements that's a good catalyst. The other element is sometimes the time just comes and suddenly it's just no longer a trigger or an issue anymore in my life.
Yes. Yes to all of the above. Sometimes you just hit the wall and you can't take it anymore. What they would call rock bottom, I suppose. So that's one way. Another way is just getting, for me, I got sick of hearing myself think. I just got sick of my thoughts. I got so sick of it. And I was so unhappy
Mhm.
that I thought there has to be another way. I'll give you another example, if I may. I grew up with a skin disease, and I was just obsessed with skin my whole life. And that really determined how people looked at me and whether or not they wanted to be near me. And, it really grew my empathy and compassion as a child. But I was really attached to it in adulthood also, so much so that every time I got stressed out, my skin would flare up again. And at the first sight of skin challenge, I would go into panic mode. And I realized that I was holding myself hostage. So all of a sudden, I just had this like mind blowing moment where I was like, I don't have to be attached to that if I don't want. And what if I just start loving my skin instead of fearing my skin? So I think, and it changed my skin, by the way. Then I don't have those problems anymore. I outgrew them. They don't come up for me. It's a non-issue. Um, but I think the key is in understanding that you have that right, that it can be done. You can decide. Who says you have to be attached to a story? Yeah, you're in traffic, but who says that has to be a bad thing? Okay, yes, you're challenged physically at the moment. Who says that has to be a bad thing? Nelson Mandela's in prison for 27 years. And for him, it was a beautiful experience.
Right.
So it's all just,
Is it choice?
understanding that you have a choice and that you are in creation. Energy is constantly moving, and so too are you, because you're energy. All matter is energy.
Okay, so going back to the course, you talked about mindset mastery is sort of getting ahead of your brain, right? Which is getting ahead of your thoughts
Yeah.
and being in control of them without it feeling like a forceful control, but actually knowing that you have the power to choose and choose how you're going to think about every situation and where you're going to place it in your identity and your
Mhm.
sphere of your spirit. How do people, I want to just make sure people get this. How do people sign up for your course? Because that's, I think you're saying a lot of incredible things, and I just want to make sure people can find you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. So two ways. There is a subscription on my website. If they input their email, then they will be first to know when the course launches for application and or when it's opened. That's number one. And number two, I will most definitely announce it on Instagram.
Okay.
So I would do both, just to cover bases if someone's really interested in that. But they have both options, and I don't have a date yet for launch, but I anticipate launching next month.
Okay, that's great. I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful, and I'm super excited. And I think people are going to be chomping at the bit. So one of my favorite exercises, like Cyia and I are friends, but we also work together as we've mentioned. And one of my favorite exercises that she does is the I am exercise. And you've mentioned it already through this discussion. Can you explain how it works and why it's so impactful? Because it really is.
Yes, and I just made the mistake and I have an ice cube in my mouth now. It works in this way. We have a tendency to get comfortable and sit in our comfort zone, which means that we just get okay with certain I ams kind of floating through the mind. And they bubble up the moment you feel insecure. Others will bubble up the moment you make a mistake. Others will bubble up the moment someone upsets you. Another round will bubble up when you look in the mirror and don't like what you see. These are all planted inside of us, and they kind of weave themselves into our default settings. I used the word control earlier, and I think a better word might have been choice.
Right.
Because that's essentially what you're doing. And the exercise of I ams, what we do is we write them down. We write all of them down, starting with the ones that are low vibe, that are unkind, that
for example, like, what do you mean an I am? Maybe people don't understand what an I am
oh,
is.
I see. Okay. I am, when I was dealing with skin issues, I'm ugly. I am unworthy of love, attention. I was in the entertainment business, and here I was dealing with skin issues. So unworthy of success, perhaps. So I am. My new I ams are, I am worthy, I am enough, I am beautiful, I have beautiful skin. And by the way, I healed my skin that way. It's another story. So any I am, you want to start. I like to have people start with those low vibe ones, because for a number of reasons. You need to exorcise them from the body. We want to get them out, because anything we hold in carries shame with it. And shame is remarkably powerful. We cannot heal that which we refuse to acknowledge. Right. We cannot heal that which we refuse to see. So you want to get all of these I ams that are really like weights attached to your ankles, all the ugly ones, the scary ones, the shameful ones, the mean ones, out on paper, just to get them out of your energy body, number one. Number two, to see for yourself firsthand how hard you've been making it for yourself. And this is not to grow self-blame. It's to give yourself more grace. No wonder you're not where you need to be. No wonder you don't feel happier. No wonder you don't feel fulfilled. Look at what you've been carrying in this story of your I am. So you want to get them out. You want to see them firsthand, like, oh my gosh, for me, they make me love myself even harder, because I just see someone who's been in pain.
Right. It's like when somebody comes to you and says, I'm struggling with this, or this is what I'm going through. And you can only have compassion for them.
You can only have compassion for them because they don't know the way. Right. They don't see that there is an alternative route. So getting those I ams out of your body exposes the road. And then what we do is then write the powerful ones, the ones that you feel already that are great. Maybe I'm smart, I'm athletic, I'm graceful, whatever. And you include in that list the ones you want to feel about self, and you write them as an I am. You don't write them as a want or a wish or a hope or a dream. There's a reason for that. That's in the course. I'm happy to talk about that if you want to. You write them as if they've already been embodied, as if you already believe it to be true.
Hence the word am, right? Hence the word am. Hence the word am. It's hence the word am. Hence, and you are claiming it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can also use have, do, I am, I have, I do, if you want. Any claim, is a declaration that it's a declaration that you're signaling to the universe that this is what you're taking ownership of, which is your birthright.
And what's so beautiful about this exercise is this is something people can do right now after they get off this and get back to their life, before they start their morning coffee, or before they get to bed, or after they put their kids to bed. Write your lists of your I ams, both the ones that you're ready to let go of and release, and look at them and appreciate them and see how heavy they've been. Release them, and then move on to the claiming the new I ams, which is such a beautiful new chapter.
Your I ams, and this is another one that people can really, I hope that they'll take in their hearts. Your I ams become your life. And so you want those I ams to be empowering and uplifting and inspiring and loving. And when you work on I ams and you write them down and you practice saying them over and over and over again, at first you're just working, in the brain space. And it's going to take a while before it really sinks into the heart space. But doing that rewires neural pathways. So even writing your I ams and cycling them through the mind draws in some neuroscience, aspects of neuroscience that will help you reframe and rewrite and ultimately actually physiologically change how your brain fires. This too is in the course. And I know you've done a ton of research in that department.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And then I'm glad that that's in the course. And I think it's a buzzword that everybody's talking about is neuroplasticity, right? And how you are not stuck because we are blessed with this incredible gift of neuroplasticity. And for even people like myself and you and anybody who feels like they're stuck in a health or a dis-ease state, that there's possibility to change your brain, the chemistry of your brain works, the way you think, right? The brain works, and there's the mind and then there's the brain aspect of it, right? And taking care of that and watching the way your brain works and watching the way your mind works, which is what you're talking about, the mindset mastery, is really powerful. And it's such a gift to be able to help people understand this. And I think what's so amazing about this wellness community and you as well is that people are saying such similar things in slightly different ways, and you never know which one is going to resonate with you, which one is going to make that, like for me, whenever I speak to you, there's like gongs going off literally in my head. And for people who are watching, when they have that moment, whether it's through this conversation or it's the I am part, or it was the I am still in creation, I am, there's just so many powerful things that people can resonate. Now, Carrie Ann Conversations Journey to Wellness is all about wellness, as we've been discussing. But I want to ask, as a woman in this world and balancing business and family and all of the things that you do, what are some of the routines that you still keep in practice to maintain your path?
So my IAMs, for sure, undeniable, non-negotiable. I have a few non-negotiables, and my lists of IAMs are non-negotiables. No less than 5 on a daily basis. And sometimes I'll stick with the same ones for however long I feel led to do so. And sometimes they'll be different every day. That's number 1. Number 2, gratitudes. I write my gratitudes every single day. And when we sit down to dinner,
Yes.
we do our gratitudes before we eat. And my son has done this his entire life. And if for some reason I get distracted or I'm really hungry and I just want to dive in, he'll stop me because he loves them so much. So gratitudes are absolutely key. We talk about this a lot in the course as well. Why? And the third thing, there are many actually. The third is meditation, and the fourth is prayer. And I separate meditation from prayer. They don't have to be separated necessarily. They don't have to be separated, but I practice them distinctly.
Well, I love that, because some people would consider meditation and prayer to be lumped in one, and some people will separate it. I would also separate them. So I hear what you're saying, and I think some people would consider them very similar. And I think that's the beauty of all of this, is I want people to make their own choices for their own life, what works for them, and that you have the divine gift, and you are entitled to make the choices that you want, as you've been saying. Now, one of my favorite things to do with Cyia is when she leads a meditation, because I don't know what happens. I like leave this earth and go somewhere else. And would you do us the honor of leading us in a short meditation so people can have this experience and travel the universe with us?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
We'll have to time it. So you want to do a minute or 2 minutes? What do you want to do?
Can we do 2 minutes?
We can do 2 minutes. Okay. So let's see. Yes. So everybody get cozy and comfortable. I would recommend uncrossing legs.
Oh, you knew mine were crossed?
And if mine are too. I'll uncross mine.
Uncrossing. Okay.
Uncrossing.
Coming off. All right. Go ahead.
Just let yourself like scooch into a cozy, comfortable position. Whether you're seated upright or leaning back against something really doesn't matter. Do what feels good to you. You are your own greatest healer and your own greatest guide. So listen to what feels good. So allow your eyes to draw to a close, and we will begin now. As the eyes draw to a close, find your breath. Do nothing with it at this time. Simply find it and see how it's serving you. See if it's a little bit short and shallow. Is it rapid? Is there a pause in between? Simply noticing the breath puts you in healer mode. By allowing yourself to observe it, then you get to determine how to connect to it and wield it as a wand for weaving magic in your life. So whatever you have observed in your breath, begin to stretch it. Inhaling just a little bit longer. Exhaling a little bit farther. And as you do, imagine it filling the body from the lungs, spreading outward, filling the body like water filling a bathtub. This is your healer's breath. Let it touch every space and place that calls for extra TLC and love. If you have any cycling thoughts, send your breath to the mind. Any anxiety in the belly, send your breath straight there. In energy work, we don't worry about the shapes of lungs. Let the breath swirl through your internal universe. Let it soften, let it quiet, let it calm. By stepping in front of the breath, know that you hold the healing power of calming your central nervous system at any time, dialing it down, reconnecting to the truth of you, a divine expression of source, of infinite potential, and endless love and grace. In this breath, find peace. In peace, you'll find your presence. In your presence, you step fully into your power. Allow 3 cycles of breath at your own pace now, calling yourself back into your body. And when you feel complete, you can allow your eyes to gently open, and you'll find yourself in entirely new energetic resonance and space. And finish with the words on the mind's eye, I am here now.
I am here now.
I am here now.
Namaste, my friend.
Namaste.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
You know what's so cool about that breath practice is that if you start with an I am here now and end with an I am here now, you've traveled a whole journey. Just through the breath, you've moved into a completely different place. The blood's flowing through your body, the exhalations, the inhalations, the thoughts are an entirely different way of being. Just like neuroplasticity, it just reminds you you're always in creation.
In 2 minutes, if we all just take a minute to notice how much that shift, how far it took us, and yet how it just returned us back to ourselves. So beautiful. Oh, Cyia, I cannot wait to see you. I love you so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of your incredible wisdom, your beautiful, compassionate heart, all of the things that you've been through that brought you to this moment. I know not all of them were pleasant, and some of them were very challenging, but thank you for turning them into such a beautiful gift, and the fact that you share it with all of us. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you.
I return that and reflect that right back to you. You're just such a gift in my life. Thank you for everything. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I can't wait to hang out. So for more information on Cyia and how to join the waitlist for her Mindset Mastery course, go to CyiaBatten.com. That's CyiaBatten right there.com. And check it out and have the beautiful experience. And I love you, my friend. I'll see you very soon.
I love you too, dear. Thank you so much. Mwah.
Thank you. Mwah.
Thank you, love.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Carrie Ann Conversations and that wonderful conversation with Cyia Batten. She is just a spectacular human being, and she continues to inspire me. And what I love is that she makes it all accessible, right? She gives you the tools to be your best self, and in a way that feels very deeply authentic, very sensual, very passionate, and as she says, both practical and yet spiritual. And I love that duality and bringing them together. She is truly a master at the mindset. All right. I hope that this has resonated with you in some way. If you have any comments, please like, share, ask any questions you have of us below, and leave some comments for us. I think that would be great. I love to hear from you. All right. Take care.